Hey guys, it's life coach and licensed therapist Robin May, and welcome back to our channel. If you have not already hit subscribe to our YouTube channel, make sure you like this video. And let me tell you the reason why people ask you to do that. Because the more engagement we get, the more people get access to this information. And I truly believe the information that we are sharing here on the I Believe in Marriage channel can help save some marriages. And so make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe so that we can continue to push out this content for those who need it. Now, I know we took a break last week because I know that for me, sometimes I get so much information that I just shut down and if it gets too overwhelming. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to catch up on this series. We are doing the ABCs of marriage, where I am going through every letter of the alphabet. Now, I have said this at just about every video. I don't play about marriage. And so I'm not just coming up with random words just so that I can match a letter. I'll skip over a letter before I do that. And so while this is a bit cheeky, just trying to use the alphabet, in other words, that just means a way to make it easier or a catchy way to talk about marriage. These principles that I am sharing really can help your union. This could be a free resource for you and your spouse. You guys can sit down and just commit 10, 15 minutes to watch the video, another 10 minutes to talk about it, which one of the letters really stood out to you. Talk about one thing you want to do differently, and then apply those things, and then come back next week and do it all over again. I just gave you guys some counseling 101. That is a free resource for you. And so, another idea, you can get some friends and you guys can Zoom together. You can show the video. Somebody can share their screen. You can show the video. You could do this every week. Since there are going to be 5 total weeks of this series, you could do this for 5 weeks. Just show the first video via Zoom on your group with some friends that you guys are doing life together. Show the video, the first video, and you guys discuss each letter, and then allow that to jumpstart conversation. That is a great way to make sure you're engaging with others throughout this crazy time we are in. Do you like those ideas? Let me know if you do it. Send me a video, send me a picture, DM me, let me know if you do it. All right. Now, some of y'all have been in my inbox. Some of you guys have emailed me asking me to talk about this whole entanglement situation. I am contemplating doing a live on it. I am contemplating it. If you notice, here on the I Believe in Marriage Network, I very rarely get into discussions like that. Every once in a while, I think I might have said something about the Red Table Talk a while ago when Will and Jada first did a sit down together. And then I feel like I did something about a discussion that came up with Fantasia. But the reason why I try to shy away from it a little bit is because, again, I don't play about marriage, and everybody does not have the same mindset when it comes to marriage. And so I always want to make sure that whatever we discuss on this channel is not about gossip. It's not about just trying to keep up with what's going on in pop culture. But I also want to make sure that we are relevant and that we're addressing the things that you want to talk about. And so let me continue to pray about it. I might do a video on it. Okay. And if you're interested in it, if you have a specific question, inbox me the question and I can maybe address it. That would be an easier way for me to deal with it, I think, if you have some direct questions. All right. So that's it for that. Let's get into our 4th week. So far, we've done the letters A through O. Today, we are doing the letters P through T. P through T. All right, you ready to dive in? Let's go. Oh, do y'all see my little fancy pillow? My husband and I attended a marriage conference maybe a couple of years ago, and it was a church that we loved, the pastor and first lady, and this was the gift. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see it really good. It says May and it says lover something. My lover is mine and I am his. Song of Solomon 3:16. I just love that pillow. All right, let's dive in. So our first letter this week is the letter P, the letter P. And so we're going to be talking about prayer for the letter P. I truly believe every marriage needs an anchor. Every marriage needs an anchor. What is the thing that centers you and your spouse? What is the thing that brings you what I call back to the center of the room? It is very easy because of how life happens for us to find ourselves in separate corners, dealing with things on our own. You and your spouse need that thing that brings you to the center of the room. How do you resolve conflict? How do you get on one accord when you've been dealing with conflict? How do you get clarity on what your next steps are? What is the thing that anchors you and your spouse? And I believe if you are a couple that honors God and that wants God to be at the center of your marriage, you have got to incorporate prayer. And let me tell you, I know my husband and I pastor a whole church, and I know that sometimes it is difficult to prioritize prayer, but I want you to understand your marriage cannot risk not doing so. Your marriage cannot afford to not incorporate prayer. And so I want you to incorporate prayer together and separately. Listen, get a book that you're reading together and that has prayers at the end of it. My favorite book is The Power of the Praying Wife when it comes to marriage. Oh, I wish I had it in here because I would show you how much I'm in that book. And then there's The Power of the Praying Husband. I don't know that my husband is into that one as much as I am into mine. But when we do pull out Power of the Praying Wife, we use it just to jumpstart other areas of prayer. And so I want you to prioritize prayer in your marriage. Okay? The next letter is the letter Q. And for this letter, we are going to talk about knowing when to quit. Knowing when to quit. Now, if you remember during week 1, the letter was D, and we said you got to decide to stick and stay. So you already know I'm not talking about quitting your marriage and walking away from your marriage, but I do want you to remember to know when to quit when it comes to those intense conversations, the arguments, the intense fellowships, the times when y'all about to have it out for real. You have to know when to quit, because there are times that you have to stop the conversation so that it does not go somewhere that you guys cannot rebound from. And so the strategy that I teach couples is this: when the two of you are in an intense conversation, when emotions have risen. Now, y'all remember this. If you've been rocking with I Believe in Marriage at all over the last 10 years, did y'all know we are celebrating this year, 2020, 10 years of empowering and equipping couples, 10 plus years. So if you've been rocking with us at any point during this time, one of the strategies I teach couples is to use the knowing when to quit is one of the strategies in dealing with conflict. And what that looks like is when you know the emotions are rising, when your temper rises, when your anger goes up, at the same time, your IQ is going down. And if you don't know when to quit, you can get to the point of exploding and you can say and do things you did not intend to say and do. So I want you to know when to quit. And how that works is this: when you see the emotions are getting high, when you can feel that things are getting intense, you want to know when to say, hey, wait. Okay, let's pause. Let's stop right here. Babe, let's just stop right here because I don't want this to go somewhere that it doesn't need to go. Can we stop here? But here is the trick to that. Here is the key to that. You have to commit to re-engaging. You have to commit to saying, okay, we're going to stop right here and we're going to come back at this time. So whoever is the person who initiates quitting it at that moment, putting pause, stopping at that moment, that person is going to be responsible for bringing it up again. So, babe, can we stop right here? And can we revisit this tomorrow at 1 o'clock? Can we revisit this later on tonight at 7 p.m.? Both of you agree. And if you are the person who initiated it, you are going to bring it back up at that time. And because you both are watching this as a part of your marriage relationship enhancement, y'all are watching this video together, you both are going to stop right now. You're going to turn to one another and you're going to say, babe, we're going to commit to this strategy, knowing when to quit. And since both of you have committed to it, the other person, even if their emotions are high, they're going to remember Robin said during that video, one of the strategies is just to pause and come back to it. Okay. So Q is knowing when to quit. The letter R is respect. One of the things I teach couples is the importance of a safe space, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. But when you look at safe space, when you think about creating a safe space for your marriage, there are 3 ingredients to a safe space. That is respect, trust, and personal responsibility. Respect, trust, and personal responsibility. And so if you and your spouse are going to have a safe space in your marriage, again, I'm going to define that in just a moment. If you're going to have a safe space in your marriage, the two of you have got to know what respect looks like for one another. What respect looks like for you is different from what respect looks like to me. And so if you have not asked your spouse, babe, what does it mean for you to feel respected? Is there something that I do that makes you feel disrespected? Ask the question. Remember, one of our letters was to stay curious. You want to ask the question, stay curious about what your spouse needs, because respect is critical if we are going to have strong communication, a strong connection. I have to respect you. You have to respect me. I want to feel valued by you. I want you to know that I value you, and that comes through respect. All right. Let's keep going. The letter S is going to be two parts. The first part is what we just talked about, creating a safe space for your marriage. You and your spouse need a safe space. And a safe space is where I can share with you without fear of retribution, without fear of punishment, and without fear of consequence. Now, let's be clear. This does not mean if you come and drop a bomb on your spouse that your spouse is going to say, "Oh, honey, it's okay. No worries." That's not what this means, but it does mean that I can share freely with you without fear of retribution, without fear of you throwing it up in my face. If I tell you, babe, I kind of feel uncomfortable when this happens, you're going to allow me to express that without making me think that I'm crazy, without gaslighting me, without stonewalling me. You're going to make sure that you create a space where I can hear you and you can hear me. That's what a safe space is. Now, remember, I just shared that there are three components to a safe space: trust, respect, and personal responsibility. And so you want to make sure that you are incorporating that in your marriage. The other part of S is to sacrifice. You and your spouse must be willing to sacrifice for one another. Marriage really is about a give and take for it to be mutually beneficial. If your goal is to always win, if your goal is to always have the upper hand, if your goal is to always have your way, you are not creating a healthy marriage. You want to be willing to sacrifice. What are you willing to adjust? What are you willing to let go of? What are you willing to give in on when you are in a situation with your spouse? You and your spouse must be willing to sacrifice. Let's keep going. The last letter is T, and that is trust. Remember, I said when you're creating a safe space that there are three components: trust, respect, and personal responsibility. Trust definitely includes fidelity. Can I say that again? Trust definitely includes fidelity. You want to make sure that you and your spouse are being faithful to one another, but trust is so much more than just fidelity. I need to trust that what I share with you stays with you. I need to trust that I can share with you my heart, that I can trust you with what's going on in my heart. I need to share with you that I need to trust that I can share with you my vulnerability. You want to make sure that your relationship is filled with trust. In the communication course that I teach, that I present is a virtual communication course that you and your spouse can go through at your own space, at your own time. If you're interested in that, just go to ibelieveinmarriage.com/communication. But in that course, I ask some questions so that you and your spouse can begin to understand, do we have trust in our marriage? And remember, that's so much more than just fidelity. So as we recap, our letters this week are prayer, knowing when to quit, knowing what respect looks like, a safe space, and the willingness to sacrifice, and trust. Now, remember the strategy I gave you. You and your spouse can watch this full video. I think it's going to be about 14, maybe 14 and a half minutes. You guys can commit 15 minutes to your marriage just to watch this video, and then maybe another 10 minutes just to discuss it. Y'all, that is 25 minutes. That's under 30 minutes that you have invested in your marriage, and I believe it will be well worth it. Make sure you share this video on your platform. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like it, and then reply back and let me know what your takeaway is. I cannot wait to see you next week as we conclude this series. I'll talk to you soon.